Hello, it's me again, Ellen, your crazy bread baker or whatever I'm called. I am going to show you today from start to finish how to make cinnamon rolls. I'm going to first put the ingredients into the bread pan. I'm going to set it at my bread machine for dough cycle. I'm going to show you how the dough should look as it's mixing, whether it's too wet or too dry. I am going to show you how to roll out and fill and cut the cinnamon rolls and put them in a pan. I'm going to show you before and after rising, and I'm going to show you baking them and even how to glaze them. Okay? All right. So enjoy the video. I will post the recipe in the comments in the description somewhere. I hope I figured it out last time. I'm assuming I can figure it out again. Okay, here we go. Cinnamon rolls. For cinnamon rolls, I use a butter dough recipe, and I just call it my master butter dough recipe. This recipe is incredible. It is so versatile. You can make hamburger buns, hot dog buns, cinnamon rolls, poppy seed rolls, poppy seed coffee cake. You can make little clover leaf rolls where you put 3 little balls in a muffin tin and they go together, and it's really pretty. You can braid it. You can make cinnamon raisin roll up, swirl loaf. You can do anything with this dough. It's a little bit sweet, but not overly sweet. Best dough ever. Okay, here we go. So my recipe calls for 210 grams of milk. Putting it in my scale right now. Special thanks to hubby Neil, who you will probably never see on camera, who is filming, and he does a really good job. Getting close. Oh, a little over. I'll pour a couple drops back in. How did I do? Oh, too many. I want 210. Just double checking. All right, 210.1. Close enough. I'm going to stick my milk back in the fridge. Okay. And since in my bread machine, Zoe Girushi Virtuoso Plus, the liquids go in first. So milk into the tub. All right. The next ingredient is 1 egg beaten. It doesn't have to be beaten like you were making scrambled eggs, but I beat it just enough so that it gets incorporated properly without having the yolk separated. I read somewhere on some recipe that you're supposed to beat the egg a little bit first, so that's what I do. I really should have a spatula here to scrape because I'm not doing a very good job. Okay, let me give this a quick cold water rinse. All right, dry my hands. Okay, so the next ingredient, that's all for the liquids. The next ingredient is bread flour. I'll put my bowl on there, hit tare. Tare just means zero out your scale. Make sure you put your bowl or whatever that you're weighing the ingredients in on the scale and then press tare, because otherwise the weight will not be accurate because it'll include the weight of the bowl. So I need 435 grams of bread flour. I know I've talked about sprinkling and fluffing before. You don't have to fluff your flour if you are weighing. Although I do sprinkle it in. Maybe I don't need to, I don't know, but that's what I do. All right, we're at 418. 431, 434, ooh, so close. Wow, 435.1. That was amazing. That's exactly what I scooped up. That doesn't usually happen. Okay, when I sprinkle the bread flour in, I kind of go back and forth a little bit. Okay, going down the list, my next ingredient is sugar, 42 grams. I'm going to put this on there and hit tare. Make sure the scale says 0. Grab my tiny petite little sugar canister And 42 grams. Here we go. Almost there. Oh, wow, I'm good today. Okay. Now, I'll put that. Okay, so I have a routine. I always put flour and then sugar on the right of the flour on the short side, salt on the left side of the flour. So here goes my sugar. Get a close-up of the sugar in there, honey bunny. The reason I do this is because if I can't remember, if I get a phone call, if something happens, I can look and see, okay, my sugar's there because it's on the left. Okay, for my salt measurement, it's 5 grams. Sometimes I do this because salt comes out too fast. And it's just easier to control it from my hand. Half a gram more. Oh, wow, 4.9. Okay, like 3 grains of salt. There we go. Okay, and no, I won't throw it over my shoulder because I don't want it on my kitchen floor. Okay, putting the salt on the left. So if I got a phone call and I didn't remember, oh my God, did I put in the salt? Did I put in the sugar? I can see there's the sugar, there's the salt. No question about whether I put it in. All right, next ingredient is unsalted butter. Tear it out. All right. So I need 58 grams of unsalted butter. There's some. I'm putting up a new brick. $45, $44, $58.2, good enough. So if it calls for a whole stick of butter or more, I do cut it up. Like this one, I will cut in a couple of pieces. But if it's like 2 tablespoons, like if you only have like this much butter, you don't need to cut it any smaller. This is how I've always done this, and I don't know whether I read to do this somewhere or just came up with it. It's not a liquid, unless it was melted, but it's not a dry ingredient. And in my Zoe manual, it has the butter, it has the ingredients that go in order and always has the butter after the dry ingredients. So what I do is I put it along the outsides, the long sides, I should say.
Does it have to be softened?
Does it have to be softened? Not if you have a preheat function. That's a good question. So my husband said, does it have to be softened? If your machine has a preheat / rest / warm up cycle where it just sits there and warms the ingredients before you start, then no, you do not have to melt or soften the butter or any other ingredient. I use the milk, the butter straight from the fridge. If your machine does not have that, then you have to follow the instructions of your machine. This is my machine. It's the only one I can speak to. Okay, so I've got my milk, I've got my egg, I've got my bread flour, I've got my sugar, I've got my salt, I've got my butter. One thing left is yeast. Sorry for the noise, so tear that out. And I'm gonna get my yeast. And I keep my yeast always in the freezer. I use SAF instant yeast, but I've transferred it to a jar for ease of operation. I'm gonna take the end of my spoon and make the little well, little circle, dimple, indentation, whatever you want to call it, in the flour. And then I'm gonna make sure you're not gonna get any flour in the yeast. And I need 3 grams of yeast, which isn't very much. I think 3 grams is a teaspoon. Whoops, too much. 3.0 on the nose. I'm a weirdo. I never get my yeast out ahead of time. I never even put the yeast down. I put the lid down, but I didn't even put the yeast down. I put it immediately back in the freezer. My yeast is only out of the freezer for like 30 seconds. I don't know. It's just what I do, just what I do. And the yeast goes right there. Yeast should only, in my machine, should only touch the flour. Okay? All right. So again, because it's easy to forget an ingredient, I'm going to go down my recipe. Did I put in the milk? Yes. Egg? Yes. Bread flour? Yes. Sugar? Yes. Salt? Yes. Butter? Yes. Yeast? Yes. Okay. That's how you avoid missing an ingredient. It's just a simple thing to do. I'm going to carry this over to my number one, which, because I have three, my number one machine. Make sure that you always snap in your pan, plug your machine in, and mine is always, the course is always set for dough, so that's course 11. Press start, and it says rest. And that's it for now. I will update you. Well, so the rest period is over, and the dough has just started mixing. It looks like it's coming together pretty nice, but I will update this. I'll take another video shortly, and then all these videos will be stitched together. So for you, it'll be continuous. I just want to show that when my machine is kneading, it says knead. Do you see that? And now it's mixed the ingredients, and now it's kneading harder. And I think I can already tell it's making a nice dough ball. Let me open the lid. So if I didn't know this dough better, I might think that it needed more liquid, but it's not really dry. It just isn't done mixing. So you do need to give it a little bit of time. Oh, sorry for the reflection of the light above here. It is definitely becoming a nice dough ball. You can see it mixing. And there we go. It's not sticky. It's tacky, but not sticky. And it's getting there. It's only been, kneading for a couple minutes. All right, so this is 5 minutes later. Here's what it looks like mixing. Here's what it looks like. It's not dry, even though it's not super smooth, but it's getting there. But it's definitely not dry or too wet. Doesn't need anything, liquid or flour. So because I'm crazy and like to produce mass quantities, I have this machine, number one, see number one, and I even have the date I bought it, 7/18. I have that going. In number two that I got for a present in December of 18. This is ready to go. More cinnamon rolls also. And I also have number 3 that I got a year later, and it's also ready to go. And I'm staggering each by about 20 or 30 minutes so that I have time to roll the cinnamon rolls out in between. I'm delivering cinnamon rolls to 2 families and 2 singles for their Easter, because I don't celebrate Easter. And it's still kneading. I just opened the lid so it stops, but it has indeed formed a beautiful smooth dough ball, and it's still getting there, but it definitely does not need any more flour or any more milk or liquid or anything. It's perfect. Okay, this is maybe 10 minutes after my last video. It's a beautiful, healthy dough ball. And then I talk to my dough ball. I say, "Oh, you're such a pretty dough ball. Look at you. You're so beautiful." And then they bake up nice for me. So it's still kneading, but I think it's going to go into the rise pretty soon. I haven't really been timing it, but it looks perfect here. There we go. Okay. Kneading has finished, and it says rise. And it'll be done at 1:47 p.m. my time. I'm in Southern California. So if you wondered. And there's my beautiful dough ball. So since I have 3 recipes of cinnamon rolls going, all 3 machines, I have taken out 4 sticks of butter to soften, and I better double check my already mixed up cinnamon sugar supply to make sure. I probably need to fill that container up. I already have pre-mixed cinnamon sugar because I make cinnamon rolls so often. All right, see you in a bit. My dough is gonna be ready, about 20, 30 minutes or whatever. And I like to prepare, so I have a bowl of flour to sprinkle on my counter for the rolling out. I have my rolling pin, bench scraper, a musk. The dough has risen for the cinnamon rolls, and I'm going to plop it down and cut it into a couple parts and let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then you'll see me roll it out. So my dough is ready to roll out, and I want to talk just for a minute about what pans to put it in. So if I'm giving it to somebody, I just use one of these, and I spray it with cooking nonstick spray. If I'm serving it for company in my own house, I might put it in a big, beautiful platter like this, or one of these Pyrex things that I make brownies in that have a million of. But for giving away, I normally just use one of these. I also have something that I bought, these little round ones. And I might do some of these for a single person because I can put like 6 little minis. So anyway, but I'm going to use the foil pan for this time.